Well, weren't the bats hot last night? Toronto Blue Jays, Cincinnati Reds. What a game to watch. Probably, debatably, one of the most fun games of the season.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube or the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest, most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. As always, I'm Braden Uwasco. He's Carter First. You can find us both on Twitter, Braden5 Uwasco. Carter First, too, as well on TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Blue Jays. If you're new here, drop a subscription here on YouTube. You guys have been killing it lately, and it helps us out. We notice still like 70-some% of you guys aren't subscribed. Drop a subscription, helps us out, lets you guys know when we post. As well, there's a bell icon on YouTube you can click. It'll let you know if we go live or anything crazy like that for any big moments. We're trying to get the Discord up and sort of moving around here. But, like I said, I'm not the biggest Discord guy of all time, trying to figure it out myself, trying to set it up, and we're in the process. Some other things coming your guys' way coming up sort of further here. Quite a bit to get to today. We're going to try to, sort of talk about a little bit about Bowden Francis. He's been sort of shocking the Blue Jays world as of late. He's been playing pretty well, as well as a preview of tomorrow's game or today's game. But I think let's take a look back first at the absolute demolishing the Blue Jays laid on the Cincinnati Reds. It was a pretty fun game to watch. One of the first ones I've been actually like pumped up to watch for a while, just because the Blue Jays kicked the crap out of them, and it was great to see. Before we get into that, Carter, how you doing, big guy?
Doing good. It's nice to see just an old-fashioned beatdown in the game of baseball. So the Toronto Blue Jays dominated in every facet of the game. Obviously, you scored 10 runs. That's going to play. It's going to do you good in a lot of baseball games. Jose Berrios just dominant. That's why I said on the last podcast that his starts, obviously, it's fun to see him be dominant, but not overly worried about that guy. You know exactly what he's going to be able to give. You know what you're going to be able to get out of him, obviously. And then the bullpen doesn't have to be good when Jose Berrios goes 7 innings and you get 10 runs. So kind of takes care of that. Just, you'll have to see it. 5 home runs in a baseball game. Just a ton of people launching baseballs. Don't remember the last time the Toronto Blue Jays had a 5 home run game. Maybe happened once this season. So I'm not going to complain about power. Just if this could happen just more consistently, if Toronto Blue Jays could score runs and just have good starting pitching consistently, we'd be in a different spot this season. But here we are. But I'm just not going to complain. Definitely a fun game to watch for me.
Yeah, it was great. Sort of the one thing I picked up on this game, which we haven't seen in a while, is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. playing third base of all things. Again, didn't get to see a lot from him, but I think in the plays he did make, he looked fine. And I guess at third base, if that's where you're going to put Vlad, I mean, that's all you need him to be. You don't need him to be some crazy defensive masterpiece. You just need him to be fun. And that's what he was tonight, or yesterday anyway. A couple other things from this game. I mean, huge hat tips to George Springer. The guy has made a comeback, 2 home runs, and it was just so electric. Like, watching George Springer be good at baseball is so much fun. He just brings a different attitude up there. He gets very excited. He gets very fired up. And I think that's part of what the Blue Jays are missing at the start of the season. I think George Springer's a guy that can inject a lot of life into a lineup. And when he's playing well, you can just see it on the bench. He fires everyone else up. And that's what he did during this game. I mean, obviously 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, 2 for 5 on the night. Vladdy 2 for 4. Kirk hit the home run, which is always nasty to see, Carter. I mean, Alejandro Kirk, again, is a guy that we've done a lot of complaining about over this season so far. But when he can start to sort of put things together, and, when he was an all-star back a couple of years ago, he looked good. That's the way he was looking. He was hitting balls out of the park. He was making things happen. And again, these are a lot of guys. I mean, yes, we're at the point of the season that it doesn't matter, but this is a lot of guys that this is what we want to see from them just on a consistent basis. And that's been a huge problem for the Toronto Blue Jays team, is they haven't been able to put games like this together back to back, or even a slight bit of consistency so far this season. So I think that's a big sort of complaint from me is, yes, it's a huge, great day, and it's awesome to see them score a bunch of runs. But then my bigger question is, can they go back and have even a slight bit of what they had last night?
Yeah, I'm probably going to say no. It's just not going to happen for the Toronto Blue Jays, unfortunately, here. But you take those games when you get them. It's not every day that you see your baseball team score a lot of runs, crack the double-digit mark. So you got to be positive about it. You just don't see the offense. Like, again, 5 home runs in a baseball game. When's the last time that's happened for a Toronto Blue Jays baseball team? You get just a bunch of different people launching. Obviously, George Springer with the 2. You get Spencer Horwitz launch, Kirk and Horwitz going back-to-back home runs. So fun, obviously. And then Leo Jimenez, another home run. Get some triples in this game as well. Dalton Varsho, Joey Lopervito, just everyone joined in on the hits. Every single Toronto Blue Jay had a hit through the 3rd inning. So you're getting the love from everyone. And that's what you want to see. You don't want to see, well, you would want to see just one person, but I'd much rather see a whole lineup connecting. That's when you're going to do your most damage. And that's when you're going to get these big run games, these 8, 9, 10-run games. You get one guy matching, even if he hit 3 home runs, that could only amount to 5. You get every single player in the lineup just contributing. It's a lot easier to get innings going, just back-to-back, momentum building. If you can get runners on, you're going to do some damage, and that's what the Toronto Blue Jays did.
Yeah, and I think another big thing to take away from this, like, yes, the offense did a great job, but the pitching staff only allows 3 runs, and that's what you want from this pitching staff on an everyday basis. And the tough part was at the beginning of the season, that's what it was looking like. They'd allow 2, 3 runs and somehow still lose a baseball game. I think when you look at this one, if this offense can put up 5 runs a game, I think they win a ton more games this season. So again, great job from the pitching staff. I mean, Jose Berrios looked like a dog again. 7 innings pitched, only gave up 2 runs, 7 Ks, 2 walks. Zach Pop gives up a run, pitches an inning, and then Nance actually goes an inning without giving up anything, which was nice. No strikeouts, but he gets the job done. And yeah, Carter, I don't know, man. But besides this game, we got to see Luke Maile pitch, which was that was something. There's one thing I want to bring up, sort of coming out of that, and you always love when a guy has to come in and do that. But then the Toronto Blue Jays throw Davis Schneider in for an at-bat, and you think, okay, just give the guy a free hit. Maybe it'll get him out of, start him to, I don't know, confidence slump, whatever you want to call it, get him out of it. Nope. Ground ball to third base and call it a day for Davis Schneider, because this guy, listen, I always say I love Davis Schneider. I love him. I've got 2 of his jerseys hanging behind me. It's inexcusable what he's doing right now. And I know that there's been a lot of hate towards his family and stuff on Twitter as well. That's crazy. I mean, what are you doing? You can complain about the guy. We do it, right? If a guy's not playing well, we'll say that he's not playing well. But I'm not going to go out of my way to message his sister or his dad about how, that I want Davis Schneider to play better. I think that's just absolutely absurd. I actually saw a clip of Johnny from Gate 14. He was talking about the same thing. And that's what I was seeing on my timeline too. And it's just frustrating and disheartening that Blue Jays fans would do this. I think it's just sort of out of left field. No need for this whatsoever. I think you can have your takes. You can say what you want to say. Reaching out directly to a family member, I think, is crossing a line as a fan. I just think that's completely ridiculous. I don't know if Carter, have you seen a couple of those tweets as well over the past couple of days?
Yeah, I've seen a couple. How dare a family member cheer for a fellow family member that is in the major, like in Major League Baseball, in the MLB? Just completely just selfish and crazy of them. Just not a regular human. Not like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why are you going at someone's family for something? Like, they're going to cheer for their family member for just hope from their success. Again, it's not going well for Davis Schneider, but yeah, you gotta, like, it's just baseball at the end of the day. Like, when people aren't playing good, when things happen, like back when obviously the Mariners series, the forgettable series happened, people are sending like Bo Bichette death threats, George Springer death threats. Like, what are we doing there? It's just a baseball game at the end of the day. It definitely sucks in the moment, but just keep people's families out of it. No reason to involve the sisters, especially on Twitter. Just keep like the negative things to yourselves if you got anything to say. Because that's, yeah, you're right. Absolutely ridiculous. No place for it. And yeah, definitely not going to get behind that.
Yeah, and you know what? And the tough part for me is I love what they do on Twitter. I want to see more of that, a little bit behind the curtain stuff of some of these players. Of course, Davis Schneider, fan favorite. You get to see a little bit behind the curtain stuff that sisters sort of reveal, and and, they have fun with it. And I love that part of the game. I love learning more about, players that I really enjoy watching. But in a case like this where fans do that, I think that it really just sort of wrecks that whole experience, especially for them. I mean, that's got to be tough. So, as always, I follow them on Twitter. I really enjoy it, seeing some of the stuff that they put out and do with Davis and the family. It's lots of fun. So, shout out to them for doing an amazing job, just sort of handling the craziness that is Major League Baseball and being a part of it. I really really like it. So kudos to them. Carter, in saying that, do you have anything else from this game that really stands out? I mean, I guess Spears had a terrible game. We didn't really go over that, but they gave up on him in the first inning. They were just going to let the Sharks at him, I guess, because he was on an island in the middle of an ocean and nobody was there trying to reel him in. It was, I think they knew it was over. They left him out there and they just left him to suffer, which I think is just brutal.
Yeah, you got to get your starter to eat innings at this point in the season. So, unfortunately for Spears, he's just figure it out, buddy. That's kind of where you're at. And you're kind of going at Luke Maile, but look at this guy. He's going 6 up, 6 down. Maybe just should transfer over to the pitching position. So you trip David Schneider a little bit. Yeah, you definitely want to get a hit off a position player. What about the other 5 Toronto Blue Jays that also did not get a hit off Luke Maile? Maybe just got disgusting stuff. I mean, he was experimenting with the Brainy Wasco 12-6 curve, and it was working pretty well. So you can't give him too hard of a time. But other than that, it's weird how you don't get a hit even off a position player, but you get a team starter very early on in the baseball game. So I don't know. It's fun to watch. Again, not something that doesn't happen all the time. Definitely not going to get mad about it. Always, it's interesting to see when players are going to come in, especially when they're not Toronto Blue Jays players coming in to pitch in a game that they're down by 1 million runs. So it's definitely nice to have the reverse on another team. If only it's actually mattered. But again, where we are with the MLB season with the Toronto Blue Jays, I'm not going to be mad about a beatdown against the Cincinnati Reds.
No, you'll take it for sure. We got a lot more to come on the show here. Bowden Francis, what's been going on with him? He has been absolutely electric. We're going to break his stats from the little bit down, talk about him a little bit, and then, of course, get into the preview, any other news that's sort of going on. We'll let you guys in on all of that coming up right after this break.
Take care of all your vehicular maintenance needs with our partner, eBay Motors. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your vehicle, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your partner's guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Whether it's a new spoiler, new brakes, a new alternator, or you just want to deck out your ride, eBay Motors will have everything you need. They're super easy to deal with. Their experts are very knowledgeable, and they give great advice that is specific to your needs. Just keep your ride or die alive and go to ebaymotors.com. Eligible items apply. Exclusions only. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available for U.S. customers.
So, Carter, I know this is something you've been waiting to get into. You've been wanting it, and we're finally here. Bowden Francis has been absolutely electric. I just want to go over a couple things here. Just a little bit of a background for Bowden Francis. He was traded, Rowdy Tellez was traded to Milwaukee Brewers for Bowden Francis and Trevor Richards, July 6, 2021. Bowden Francis, so I guess I'll go over his season stats this year, then go into sort of when he's been getting hot. He's played 21 games. He's got a 6-3 win-loss record, an ERA of 4.38. He's got 63 2/3 innings pitched with 58 strikeouts and a whip of 1.15. Now, I know what you're thinking. Not insane stats. What are you talking about? Whatever. Let me tell you about his last 7 and then his last 15 games. These are the games that really stand out. In his last 7, he's 3-1. With a 2.57 ERA. He's got 28 innings pitched. He's got 27 strikeouts with a whip of 0.75. In his last 15 games, Carter, 2.56 ERA. So right around that same mark. That's where you need Bowden Francis to be. He's got 45 2/3 innings pitched. He's gotten 39 strikeouts and he's got a whip of 0.94. Lately, Bowden Francis has been so good. And I know we talked about the Yariel Rodriguez versus Bowden Francis, who gets that spot before, or with Tim Meza, Jesus, Alek Manoah coming back. I saw a picture of Tim Meza today, and it just brought me all the way back.
Back up with the Yankees, Major League roster. Tim
That's
Meza,
right.
our king, going back at it.
Yep. You love to see that that Tim Meza's been so bad and he's now with the Yankees. It's great to see. Carter, but going back to Bowden Francis, which one of the two of them are going to get the spot for Alek Manoah next season, or is it going to be both of them? It's going to be a very interesting sort of battle between the two. I know before me and you both probably had Yariel Rodriguez in that spot, but with Bowden Francis sort of making a good case for himself going into the offseason here in the last little stretch of the season. How confident are you in Bowden Francis?
He's got to keep it up for the rest of the season, obviously. Going in, you're looking at next season. Again, we always say the top three on this team: Kevin Costman, Jose Berrios, Chris Bassett. You have them for another year. Obviously, you're going to roll them out as your top three. Then you got Yariel Rodriguez, Alek Manoah, and Bowden Francis. You got 6 starting pitchers, 6 of them that you can go throw out on every given day. That's already a good start because pitchers get injured all the time. You're probably going to need one of these guys at some point in the season to make some spot starts. Again, you don't want this to happen, but it's baseball. Injuries happen. You go into it, you look at Alek Manoah. He's having Tommy John, so he's not going to be ready at the start of the season. So obviously, you got Yariel Rodriguez in your 4th spot, Bowden Francis in your 5th spot, assuming you don't do anything crazy in free agency. But you're going into it, it's pretty much Bowden Francis' spot to lose, in my opinion. If you have Yariel Rodriguez and Bowden Francis very hot off the start of the season, they're holding their weight, they're holding their own, they're just doing good for your baseball club, giving you opportunities to win in these games where your 4th and 5th starter are planning on going. I don't think you can change that. If they're going to pitch good, if they're pitching well, if it's not broken, don't fix it. That's a line that's been out there for a very long time, and that's exactly how I'm going to treat this starting rotation thing. If you have guys that are going out there fighting, battling for their spot on a Major League Baseball team, providing you with a great opportunity to have a good chance to win a baseball game, you can't fault that. You can't fault those gritty performances. So it's their job to lose. Again, if one of them does struggle, you have Alek Manoah coming back. Easy adjustment. You throw Alek Manoah in. If you look, I like what Alek Manoah is doing in a camp as well, and before he comes back from injury, you can rotate these guys in, have a little bit of a competition just with a play-in. Obviously, you look on it from the surface. If I had to pick right now, I think Bowden Francis is unfortunately the odd man out of that starting 5. But again, this gives you the ability to have a mini tryout to play your best pitcher available. And I think if I had to guess, like I said, it'd be Yariel and Alek Manoah. But with Bowden Francis, if you can continue this success, continue to be a consistent starting pitcher, it's going to be an interesting and tough decision for the Toronto Blue Jays management to make.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is, my guy. I mean, I wouldn't want to be the guy put in those shoes to make that decision, I think, because, the people that do that, I don't know. I feel like whatever decision gets made for this Toronto Blue Jays team, it seems to always come back and sort of bite us in the behind. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to really look forward to seeing what these two guys can do for the remainder of the year. I mean, it is tough. It is tough if you're not going to get run support or bullpen support. I mean, that's always sort of in the back of your head, I guess, as a starting pitcher. But I think the main thing that these two guys have to go out and do every night is make sure that they're putting their best foot forward and they're coming in with everything they have. Because they're the two guys that are going to be fighting for spots and trying to push. They're both trying to push each other out probably, and Alek Manoah. So it's going to be a very interesting, I think, start to next season to see how these guys can come through a training camp, can go into the regular season, and what happens. And of course, we'll have more on that sort of as we go along. Just sort of talking a little bit more about these two guys here, Carter. Bowden Francis in particular. What has been like the thing? Is it attitude? Is it look? Is it a certain pitch? What has really stood out for you about Bowden Francis?
Yeah, there's a couple big things for Bowden Francis. It's you're looking over specifically his last 3 games. There has been a major problem with Bowden Francis. You can kind of send this to Yariel Rodriguez as well. At times, they have big stretches where their command absolutely goes out the window. They can't locate, and if they are throwing pitches over the middle or over the strike zone, it's right in the middle of pitches. Those obviously can be taken advantage of by MLB ready players at any given time. When you're flirting with the middle, you're flirting with danger. I think bad things are going to happen. You'll get Bowden Francis over his last 19 innings. He has 22 strikeouts, only 1 walk. That's exactly what you want. You don't want him giving free passes out to these teams. Bowden Francis has good stuff. He has very good extension, so that helps with his fastball sitting at middle 90s miles per hour. You get that extension, the ball, it's looking like it's coming at you a little bit quicker just because it's not as far of a distance. So with Bowden, if he has that command, if you can start picking corners, that's what he was doing with that fastball as well. And there's one more pitch with that obviously has to do with the command, but he wasn't using his curveball nearly as much, only throwing it twice in that last start that he just threw 7 innings in. And he's using that split fingered pitch a lot more, and he's locating it very well. He's playing almost doing the Kevin Gossman where he has a split fingered fastball and he's playing it off with the fastball. So you throw that fastball sort of over the middle. You can throw it obviously low as well. Then you got the splitter, drops off in the zone, and then obviously you get some swings over the top, and it's looked really good. You look at the curveball right now, the average off it is around 333. You'll look at the split finger fastball, it's around 200. Just simple batting average stats there. They're barreling up his curveball a lot more, and I find that he's leading it over the middle of the plate more consistently than a pitch like the split finger fastball. Obviously, like I just said, if you leave pitches over the middle, it's not going to turn out too well. So with Bowden, if you can get that command down, that's his number one thing, and that plays off that split finger fastball. If he can command those pitches, stay along the outsides of the plate, he can be very successful, and I think that's contributed to his success immensely over these last 3 games.
Definitely. That's a huge thing that I wanted to bring up was the fact that he's using these pitches better. I think you're seeing a lot of guys move away from the heavy dose of a curveball, and they're going to that splitter. And that's you can tell it's the way of the league right now. It's really what is pushing some of these pitchers that you maybe didn't think had a bunch of stuff forward. Another thing you brought up was the accuracy of Bowden Francis, and I looked at his hot zones and where he likes to throw balls and where they end up leaving the yard. And he throws a lot of middle fastballs, and that's what's killing him, dude. If you want to check it out, you can check out the actual hot zones on MLB.com, or I think Fangraphs has it as well.
Just another one that does have it. Just you'll be able to tell where hitters are hot, obviously where they're cold, where they do handle pitches well, where they don't. For different players, obviously they have different weak points. You look at like a guy like David Schneider, obviously his weak spots are high in the zone, very good at middle and pitches like that. Then you have other guys, obviously you have Vladdy, who's good just everywhere. So again, it's different for every player, but definitely an interesting thing to see in regards to that. But other than that, with Bowden Francis, a guy that just, if he has very good stuff, if he can keep the ball in the yard and continue to have that command, he can be pretty filthy. Again, looking at this last start, he did have 7 strikeouts, and every single one's on the black, on the corner, high and outside corner. No strikeouts over the middle, just pitches that you start on the plate, go off the plate, pitches that start on the corner. They go even way off. They fall off the face of the earth, not getting good swings, and that's what you like to see from Bowden Francis. You want him just to continue success. You want him to build on to things for 2025. You want him to have the utmost confidence in the world. And that's why going back to these prospects, looking at Ricky Tiedemann being out for the season, obviously that's injury, a little bit unlucky there. And then Elvis Martinez, this gave you the opportunity. Bowden Francis with the curveball, gave him this time here, gave him an opportunity, figure out what was working, what wasn't working. He saw the curveball was not working, did not throw it nearly as much, has worked very well for him. Ricky Tiedemann can't really work on those little mechanical tweaks, can't work on his game whatsoever because he's not throwing. Whereas Martinez not having at bats because he decided to take PEDs. You want your younger players to play. That's another argument with Joey Votto that we will get into eventually. But it's unfortunate that you can't see some of your highly touted prospects, some of your prospects that are highest on your prospect rankings list, not even play for your baseball team in a lost season.
Yeah, and that's a huge point. And you know what? I think we can, I hate to say this, but I feel like we could do a whole day just talking about the opportunity that the Blue Jays are in right now. And I don't want to put a good spin on a bad situation, but that is the good spin zone for this, is you get a lot of time to work through your problems. And a guy that hasn't been able to take advantage of, and I hate to double down on this, is Davis Schneider. Again, a guy that should be working on things, trying to figure things out, and it just hasn't worked. So we'll see what's going to come of that. But of course, guys, we always want to thank you for listening to Locked On Blue Jays and making it your first listen every day. You can check out for your second listen every day, Locked On MLB host Paul Sullivan. Sully, our guy, we love that podcast. He covers like the bigger MLB stories, is like a whole bigger picture, and he does a fantastic job of it. We just want to throw that out to you guys. So yeah, click the link. It'll be in the description, or you can just look up Locked On MLB. It's not that hard. And it's an absolute blast. You can also find it wherever you find your podcast. So make sure you check that out. We'll be right back. We're going to do a little preview, a little bit of just whatever, throw in Jay's news and us news that's going on. It's sort of the classic third segment from us. Hopefully you guys enjoy that. I know it feels like we're on double time speed right now, Carter. But it's always a blast. I feel like we're getting the news out like it's like I got a 3-minute sports cast and I'm trying to get through all 30 teams in the MLB. But let's keep it going. But we'll be right back after this break.
Today's episode is also sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They're the easiest and most exciting way to play fantasy sports because it's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you can pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Prize Picks is very simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entries in as little as 60 seconds. So last game, I had Vladdy more than, I had George Springer more than, I had them both more than on bases. Both of them hit, obviously. George Springer having a very good day. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. just continues to be consistent. So I'm going to have this same game plan for the last game of this Red Series. I got more than Vladdy bases. I have more than on George Springer as well for bases. Maybe a little bit boring as I'm doing it back-to-back, but it's making me money. I am continuing to win, so I'm not going to hate on success. But if you know which players are going to perform on specific nights, this is a no-brainer. Download Prize Picks and start making your picks today. You can download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for first deposit matchup to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for first deposit matchup to $100. Prize Picks, run your game.
Oh, so close. It's always on the second one, I swear to God. Just as quick, some other stuff here to cover, breakdown. We know we like to give you guys sort of in tune with, a couple things going on with us as well. Like I said, the Discord will be coming. We're going to have that up and ready, available for you guys by the end of the week for sure. I'm close to getting it all figured out. I just got to figure out how to attach the links and actually set it up properly. I might have to hit up one of my streaming buddies that have dealt with this stuff before. But we'll have it figured out for you guys. Carter, just this land of Blue Jays, I don't know what it is. Maybe my expectations are way lower. I've been just having fun just watching the games. I don't know what it is. I feel like I don't go into it with a preconceived notion of what this team is going to be. I'm just sort of open to whatever any night, and I don't know. Maybe that's the skepticism just around this season, but I don't know. I'm sort of over it. I think I'm just able to have fun and watch baseball now, and maybe that's not good. And it isn't good, but you know what? It's good for my mental health. That's all I'll say.
Well, looking at yesterday's game, there was a time where it was Alejandro Kirk, and then it just looked like a AAA Buffalo game from last year. And then obviously you had Joey Lopervito, Will Wagner, but you have Davis Schneider, you have Stuart Baroa, you have Spencer Horwitz, you just have everyone from Buffalo. It was the Buffalo Bisons. Absolutely insane. Just weird visual. They took Vladdy out. They took Varsho out. Springer wasn't in because, the Blue Jays are up 10-2. Get them their rest. I'm definitely okay with that. But it was just crazy to look at. Just seeing all these guys pretty much having nobody under the age of 28 in your starting lineup. Just it was something that I don't think I want to get used to, honestly. I don't think I would be watching a lot of the Toronto Blue Jays baseball games if Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was not in this lineup consistently. But again, you look at the starting roster from 2024, you have guys like Kevin Biggio here, Daniel Vogelbach, Kevin Kiermaier, Justin Turner. For where we are now with guys like Joey Lopervito, Will Wagner, Ernie Clement being pretty much an everyday guy, just insane things to be kicking it out in 2024.
Yeah, it's a weird switch up, right? You go from the old man roster down to let the kids play, and that's where we're at. So it's fun to see. Tonight's going to be an interesting matchup. Yariel Rodriguez on the mound. He's a guy, like I said, we talked about Bowden Francis. Yariel Rodriguez, another guy that I'm excited to watch play every day. So I can't wait. I'll be watching this game at work. I have the late shift again, so it's great. I get to throw on the TV during the CGOB sports show with Christian O'Mel, and it's just a blast. You throw it on the TV, and I sit there and I can watch the games in peace and work. It's like the perfect work day for me. As always, guys, Carter, I guess we can wrap things up, but I guess, I don't know, anything that you're really looking forward to in this next game?
Give me what we just saw. Give me that every single Toronto Blue Jays game. If we can just go out like on top like that, maybe go on a little bit of a winning streak here. Again, for the in retrospect, when you look at the big perspective, you want the Toronto Blue Jays to lose. It's tough to cheer against your own baseball team. I'm never going to be a guy to do that. Unfortunately, the season's too long for me to just be miserable for the entire season. That's why we try to be optimistic about all these prospects, just these Blue Jays players in general, because there's no point of just hate watching the Toronto Blue Jays, especially when you have a podcast like this. You have to talk about the Toronto Blue Jays, even though they do make it hard sometimes. But overall, this whole thing has been a blast. Obviously, would have been nice if the Toronto Blue Jays were better this season, but it's always nice to engage in the debates, the comments, everything with the people that do follow the Toronto Blue Jays as well. Before we do head out, I got one thing that I do want to go over. And I guess I'll do some quick comments on just what I want to see in that next game. But Charles McAdoo in his last 5 games, absolutely raking. You'll have to see that turning IKF into a prospect that is starting to make some noise down in AA. But 16 at-bats, 7 hits, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 3 walks, over 3 strikeouts, 16 total bases, and 16 at-bats. That is going to play. That's pretty good. I will take that in my farm system. Absolutely. But for the last game, Joey Votto, I'm going to say it, unfortunately. Breaking news, he will not be coming up for the Cincinnati Reds series. Sad times. What are you doing, Toronto Blue Jays baseball? Come on, front office, Ross Atkins. It's another L. Taking L's left, right, and center. But it's for the game. Just let's see everyone get a hit again. I want to see by the 3rd inning. Maybe we'll try 2nd inning this time. I want everyone, 9 players on the roster, hit by the end of the 2nd.
Yeah, I like it. Guys, thanks for watching. This has been another everyday episode of Locked On Blue Jays. We got news. There's so much more to go over. Like, I feel like we could do it an hour episode every day. But again, you know what? We'll pack some stuff in. We got some news coming out tomorrow here yet. So we'll make sure you guys tune in for that one. As always, we want to thank you guys for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen. Make Locked On MLB your second listen. Paul Sullivan, Sully, our boy, Locked On MLB. You can find him anywhere where you guys listen to podcasts. As always, have a great night. Watch some Blue Jays baseball. Have some fun. Appreciate you guys watching.